My girlfriend said, "Leave if you want. You'll be back begging within a month," after humiliating me in front of her friends. I replied, "Start counting." Then I moved to another city for my dream job and tripled my salary. But that's not even the craziest part. Looking back, I ignored so many red flags I could have opened a flag store. Charlotte had been chipping away at me for months, and I had been too hopeful to see it for what it was. Little comments here, dismissive gestures there, each one small enough that calling it out felt like overreacting. But they added up, like the time her company threw a happy hour and she invited me to meet her work friends. I showed up ready to make a good impression. Her friends were already there, Jess, Amber, and Chloe. All marketing people, all dressed like they were hitting a club afterward. Jess greeted me first. "Oh, you must be Wilder. Charlotte's told us so much about you." "Good things, I hope. She says you're very stable." The way she said it made it sound like a medical condition. When someone asked what I did, Charlotte jumped in before I could answer. "He does computer stuff. Tech things. Honestly, I don't really understand it." She laughed, and her friends laughed with her. "Software engineering," I corrected. "I work on back-end systems for financial applications." Charlotte interrupted, touching my arm. "He gets so technical. It's adorable." Adorable. Like I was a kid showing off a crayon drawing. I let it go. They weren't tech people. They didn't need to understand. But it stung. Then there was the money conversation. We had been talking about taking a vacation, and I had suggested we save up a bit more first. "You're always so worried about money," she said, rolling her eyes. "We're fine. I'm just trying to be responsible. You make decent money. I make more. Between us, we're doing great." There it was, casual as anything. I make more. She did make more, about 90,000 plus commission as a marketing manager. But she also hadn't paid rent in the year she had been living in my apartment. She contributed maybe $200 a month for groceries when she remembered. "You know I pay for the apartment, right?" I said. "And I appreciate that. But come on, Wilder. It's not like you're struggling. You're just careful. Too careful sometimes." I wanted to point out that careful was why the rent was always paid. That careful was why we had any savings at all. But I didn't. I let it go. Big mistake. Another red flag was how Charlotte had started dressing differently for work events. Designer clothes, expensive jewelry, spending hours on hair and makeup. She called it networking and brand building. She would come home late from these events, sometimes not until the next morning, claiming she stayed over at Jess's place because they had been strategizing. I started noticing a name that came up more often in her stories. Soren. Brand rep for some luxury company, always at the same events Charlotte attended. She would mention him casually, how he was so good at reading the room, and really understood the luxury market. Then I got the job offer. It came in an email that changed everything. A tech company in Austin. Senior software engineer. 185,000 base salary. I was making 68,000 at the time. This wasn't just a raise. It was a completely different life. I told Charlotte that night over dinner. I got a job offer. Senior engineer role in Austin. She barely looked up from her phone. Austin? Like Texas? Yeah, incredible opportunity. The salary alone is almost triple what I make now. She laughed. "You're not seriously considering moving to Texas?" "I am. It's the kind of role I've been wanting for years." "Wilder, be serious. My job is here. My friends are here. We have a life. You can't just uproot everything for more money." "It's not just more money. Your job is fine," she said, picking up her phone again. "You're just having one of your moments. You'll feel different tomorrow." I didn't feel different the next day, or the day after that. But I also didn't push it. I had 2 weeks to decide. I figured we would talk more about it. We didn't. And then came the dinner party. Charlotte had asked me to cook. She always did when her friends came over because, as she put it, "You're actually good at it, and I'm not." I spent 2 hours making salmon with roasted vegetables and homemade pasta while she got ready. Makeup, hair, changing outfits 3 times. Her friends showed up right on time. Jess, Amber, and Chloe, dressed like they were going to a photo shoot. "Wilder's playing chef tonight," Jess announced, like it was hilarious. "Yeah, He's useful for that, Charlotte said, laughing. I brought out the food. They barely acknowledged it. Dinner started fine. They talked about work, about influencer drama, about some Miami trip they were planning. I ate and listened, trying to find a way into the conversation. Then Amber turned to Charlotte. So, did you close that luxury car deal? Not yet, but I'm in final negotiations. It's a $200,000 contract. That's insane. You're killing it. Chloe looked at me. What about you, Wilder? Still doing the computer thing? Software engineering? Yeah. Actually, I just got offered a senior position. Charlotte cut me off. He's thinking about moving to Texas for it. She laughed. Like that's actually going to happen. The table went quiet. Amber raised her eyebrows. Wait, you'd move for a job? What about Charlotte? It's a really good opportunity, I said. Triple my current salary. Jess leaned forward. Triple? What do you make now? Like 50,000. 68,000. Chloe actually laughed. Oh honey, that's cute. Charlotte, didn't you say you make like 90,000? Plus commission, yeah. Charlotte was smiling now. So yeah, I make more than him. Which is why this whole Texas thing is ridiculous. I'm kind of the breadwinner here. The words hit like a punch to the gut. You don't pay rent, I said. The table went dead silent. Charlotte's smile vanished. Excuse me? You haven't paid rent in a year. I cover the apartment, utilities, groceries. You contribute maybe $200 a month. Her face went red. Oh my God, are you seriously doing this in front of my friends? This is pathetic. I'm just stating facts. No, you're being petty because you're embarrassed. She turned to her friends, laughing nervously. Can you believe this? Amber shifted uncomfortably. Maybe we should. No, Charlotte snapped. Let's talk about it. Wilder, if you're so unhappy, then leave. Go to Texas. Take your little job offer and see how far you get without me. Without you. Yeah. You think you're hot shit because one company made you an offer? Please. You're boring, Wilder. You spend your weekends playing video games and writing code. I'm the one with the social life, the connections, the actual career trajectory. Without me, you're just some guy who sits in front of a computer all day. Jess looked at her plate. Charlotte, I don't think… No, let me finish. She was on a roll now, voice getting louder. He's been moping about this offer for weeks, like it's some huge dilemma. Here's the reality. You won't take it. You're too scared. You'll stay here, keep your safe little job, and keep cooking my dinners because that's who you are. You need me to be interesting. I put down my fork. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. So you think I need you? I know you do. She leaned back, crossing her arms. And honestly, leave if you want. You'll be back begging within a month when you realize how lonely Texas is without anyone who actually cares about you. I stared at her. At this woman I had spent 2.5 years with, who I had supported and cooked for and cleaned up after, and I saw her clearly for the first time. I stood up. Start counting, she blinked. What? You said a month. Start counting today. I walked to the bedroom and grabbed my laptop bag and keys. My heart was pounding, but I felt eerily calm. Charlotte followed me to the door, laughing nervously. Where are you going? You're being dramatic. Out. Wilder, sit down. My friends are here. Your friends just watched you humiliate me. Enjoy the rest of your dinner. I opened the door. This is exactly what I'm talking about, she called after me. You can't handle confrontation. You run away. I turned around. I'm not running away. I'm leaving. There's a difference. I walked out and closed the door behind me, but as I waited for the elevator, I heard something that made my blood run cold. The elevator doors opened, and there was Soren, tall, expensively dressed, checking his phone. He looked up and saw me, then glanced toward my apartment door. Oh, you leaving already? He said with a knowing smile. Guess tonight I won't have to keep pretending we don't know each other. The elevator doors closed before I could respond. But those words echoed in my head all the way down to the parking garage. Tonight I won't have to keep pretending we don't know each other. I drove to a hotel, checked in, sat on the bed for 20 minutes staring at nothing. Then I opened my laptop and replied to the Austin offer. I accept. When can I start? Response came 15 minutes later. 2 weeks work for you? We'll handle all relocation, I confirmed. Then I sat there alone in that hotel room and let myself process what had just happened. The humiliation of being talked down to in front of her friends while eating food I had spent hours cooking, but also something else. Clarity, and a growing suspicion that tonight had been planned. Update 1. The next morning, I went back to the apartment while Charlotte was at brunch with her friends. I packed my essentials, clothes, laptop, important documents, everything I would need for the next 2 weeks. Then I wrote a note, took the job, moving to Austin in 2 weeks. Lease is in my name. You have 30 days to find a new place. I'll pay this month's rent to give you time. After that, you're on your own. Wilder. I left it on the kitchen counter with my key. Charlotte called 6 times that afternoon. I didn't answer. She texted, "Are you serious? You're throwing a tantrum over one dinner?" I replied once, "Not a tantrum, a decision. You have 30 days. You can't just kick me out. We've been together over 2 years. Lease is in my name. You never paid rent. Legally, you're not a tenant. 30 days is generous. This is insane. My friends think you've lost your mind." I blocked her number. But I couldn't stop thinking about what Soren had said in the elevator. So I did something I probably shouldn't have. I checked the building's security app. Many newer buildings have systems where residents can see who's been buzzed up and when. What I found made my stomach drop. Soren had been buzzed up to our floor 17 times in the past 2 months. Always during business hours when I was at work. Sometimes he stayed for hours. I scrolled further back. The pattern went back 6 months. I called the building's concierge service. "Hi, this is Wilder from 12B. I've been having some packages go missing. Could you check your visitor logs?" They were helpful. Too helpful. "Oh yes, Mr. Soren has been a regular visitor. Very polite. Always says he's there for business meetings with Ms. Charlotte. Business meetings. In our apartment. For hours at a time." I hung up and felt numb, then angry, then something else entirely. My phone buzzed. Text from Jess. "Hey Wilder, I don't want to get involved in drama, but I thought you should know. Last night after you left, Charlotte told us she's been hoping you would take the hint and leave on your own, because she didn't want to be the bad guy. She said she's been trying to push you into taking the Austin job for weeks." I read it twice, then I called Jess. "What exactly did she say?" "Look, I feel terrible about last night. We all do. The way she talked to you was awful. But she said she's been seeing someone else and needed you to break up with her first, so she wouldn't look like the cheater. Seeing someone else. She didn't say who. Just that it's been going on for months and she's in love. She said the dinner party was supposed to make you angry enough to leave." I thanked Jess and hung up. So it had been planned. The humiliation, the public takedown, all of it designed to make me storm out and end the relationship. So Charlotte could play the victim while moving on with Soren. But there was more. The next day, I went to return Charlotte's spare car key that I still had. Her car was in our building's garage. As I approached it, I noticed something on the passenger seat. A receipt from an expensive hotel downtown. 2 nights ago. The same night Charlotte claimed she stayed at Jess's place. I took a picture of the receipt. Then I noticed something else. A small box on the dashboard. Condoms. Half empty. I had never bought those condoms. My phone buzzed. Another text from Jess. "I lied yesterday. I'm sorry. Charlotte asked us all to say she stayed at my place. She's been staying at hotels with some guy for months. We thought you knew and were okay with it because you never said anything." I stared at my phone. Then I typed back, "His name is Soren? How did you know?" I didn't answer. Instead, I took screenshots of everything. The visitor logs, the hotel receipt, the messages from Jess. Then I did something petty but satisfying. I posted a single update on social media. Moving to Austin for an amazing new opportunity. Sometimes the best things happen when you stop accepting less than you deserve. Charlotte called from Amber's phone 20 minutes later. "You can't just leave. We need to talk." "About what? About how you've been planning this for months? About Soren?" Silence. "I know about the hotel receipts, Charlotte. The visitor logs. Your friends told me about your plan." "It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You wanted me gone so you could be with him without looking like the bad guy. Congratulations. Mission accomplished. Wilder, please. Start counting, I said, and hung up. Update 2. 2 weeks later, I was in Austin. The apartment was perfect. Modern, clean, walking distance to the office. No one else's clothes in the closet. No one else's mess. Just my space. The job was incredible. Smart team, collaborative environment, challenging work. My first week, my manager pulled me aside. Just want to say, we're really glad to have you. Your interview was one of the strongest we've had. I almost didn't know how to respond. It had been so long since someone had said something like that about my work. My first paycheck hit, $7,150 after taxes and benefits. That was more than I used to make in a month. Meanwhile, I started getting updates from mutual friends about the situation back home. Charlotte had moved back in with her parents. Couldn't afford an apartment on her $90,000 salary when she actually had to pay rent. She was telling people I had abandoned her, that I was going through some kind of quarter-life crisis. But then Amber reached out with information that changed everything. I thought you should know. Charlotte's been posting on social about you being unstable and leaving her high and dry. But there's something else. This guy Soren she's been seeing, he has a fiancé. What? Yeah. Long-term relationship. They're supposed to get married next spring. Apparently, he's been stringing Charlotte along this whole time. She thought he was going to leave his fiancé for her, but he never had any intention of doing that. I felt a mix of emotions. Vindication, sure, but also something like pity. How do you know all this? His fiancé found out. She confronted Charlotte at a work event last week, made a whole scene, called her a homewrecker in front of everyone in the industry. I couldn't help but laugh. What did Charlotte do? She tried to claim she didn't know he was engaged, but apparently, she's been liking his engagement photos on Instagram for months. Everyone saw right through it. So Charlotte had blown up our relationship for a man who was never going to choose her. The dinner party, the humiliation, the months of deception, all for nothing. But I wasn't done hearing about the fallout. A week later, Jess called me directly. Wilder, I owe you an apology, a real one this time. We all knew what Charlotte was doing was wrong, and we should have said something. It's okay. I'm better off. No, it's not okay, and it gets worse. Charlotte's been trying to turn everyone against you. She's telling people you were controlling, that you stole money from her, that you left her homeless out of spite. That's ridiculous. We know. But she's also been reaching out to your new company. My blood ran cold. What? She found out where you work. She's been calling them, trying to get in touch with your manager. She told Chloe she's going to set the record straight about why you really left. I thanked Jess and immediately called my manager. Hey, this is going to sound weird, but my ex-girlfriend has been calling the company. She might try to cause problems. Oh, we've been getting calls. HR handled it. Don't worry about it. We get vengeful exes sometimes. It happens. The fact that my new company was protective of me, that they handled it professionally without drama, just reinforced that I had made the right choice. But the final blow to Charlotte's narrative came from an unexpected source. Chloe texted me directly. You need to see this. She sent me a screenshot. It was a group chat between Charlotte, Soren, and his fiancé. Somehow Chloe had gotten access to it. Soren to Charlotte. I told you from the beginning this wasn't serious. You knew I was engaged. Charlotte to Soren. You said you were going to end it with her. Soren to Charlotte. I never said that. You heard what you wanted to hear. His fiancé had joined the chat. Stay away from my fiancé. We're pressing charges for harassment. The last message was from Soren to Charlotte. Don't contact me again. This is over. Timestamp showed this conversation happened 3 days ago. So while Charlotte had been spreading lies about me being unstable, her own world had been imploding. Soren had dumped her, his fiancé was threatening legal action, and she was facing the consequences of her choices. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity, nothing. I was just glad to be away from all of it. I joined a rock climbing gym in Austin, made friends, got invited to a weekend trip, met people who understood what I did, who got excited about the same problems I was solving. I started remembering who I was before Charlotte convinced me I was boring. Final update. 3 weeks after the Soren conversation screenshots, my phone rang. Austin area code. I didn't recognize the number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Wilder? Oh my God, you answered. My stomach dropped. Charlotte, how did you get this number? I'm in Austin. I flew down. I needed to see you. How did you get my address? Mark gave it to me. Please, I'm downstairs in your lobby. Can I come up? Mark, my old coworker. I'd deal with him later. No, please. I flew all the way here. Against my better judgment, I went down to the lobby. She was sitting in a chair by the windows, looking rough. Tired. Not her usual polished self. Nice building, she said when she saw me. What are you doing here, Charlotte? I needed to apologize. That dinner was a mistake. I was drunk and insecure, and I took it out on you. I didn't mean any of it. You planned it. Your friends told me. She looked down. I was confused. I thought I wanted something else, but I was wrong. Look at you. New city, new job, new place. You're thriving. And Soren dumped you. She flinched. That's not why I'm here. Isn't it? I miss you. I miss us. I could get a job here. We could start fresh. I stared at her. This woman who had humiliated me, cheated on me, tried to sabotage my new job, and was now sitting in my lobby because her affair partner had thrown her away. You think I want you to move here? We were good together. Before I screwed up. Before you screwed up? Charlotte, you've been cheating for months. You planned that dinner to humiliate me into leaving. You tried to poison my new co-workers against me. This isn't one mistake. She was crying now. I know. I was terrible. But people make mistakes. Don't I deserve a second chance? You told me I'd be back begging within a month. I was angry. I didn't mean it. It's been 5 weeks. Here you are, in Austin, begging. Her face twisted. Don't be cruel. I'm not being cruel. I'm being honest. You wanted me to stay small so you could feel big. When I got the offer, you couldn't handle it. So you orchestrated a public humiliation to get rid of me while positioning yourself as the victim. That's not true. And when that didn't work out because Soren chose his fiancée over you, suddenly you remember how much you love me. She wiped her eyes. Please, just give me another chance. I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo. It was from the climbing trip last weekend. Me and 3 new friends at the summit, laughing, happy. You said I'd be lonely in Texas without anyone who cares. Turns out I made friends. Real ones. People who respect what I do and don't tear me down to build themselves up. Are you seeing someone? That's none of your business. Her face crumpled. So you just moved on? Replaced me that fast? I didn't replace you, Charlotte. I upgraded my entire life. You were part of the old version. The version where I accepted being disrespected and taken advantage of. I stood up. I need to go. You'll regret this, she called after me. I flew all the way here. I turned back one last time. You said I'd be back begging within a month. Today is week 5. The person begging is you. I walked to the elevator. As the doors closed, I heard her crying in the lobby.